Good evening, everyone. How are you? How has your week been? Oops, just dropped something. Don't know what it was. It can't be important. How's your week been? What's it been like for you? It's quite cold tonight. I'm actually quite chilly in the studio. Wishing I'd put my cardigan on before I came in. It's the temperature's definitely dropped over the last week or so, hasn't it? As I've been skating around on the dog walk in the morning on the ice, it's definitely got a lot colder. Anyway. That's just the weather. That's what us Brits talk about, isn't it? And the lighting isn't great in here either. I've got some spotlights on, but the lighting isn't great. So just I'm showing up, accept me as I am. Anyway, good evening. It's nice to be here. And tonight I am going to be talking to you all about the blight of every creative, every artist, every entrepreneur, every writer out there. And I call it blank page syndrome. It can be blank page syndrome, blank canvas syndrome, blank laptop screen syndrome, blank anything syndrome. And it happens to all of us at some point in time, no matter what we do. And I'm sure you've experienced it. So tonight I wanted to share my top 8 tips to help you back from that and discuss it a little bit, because you know what, it can be really frustrating and it can last a long time sometimes. So that's the topic for tonight. So stay if you want to. If you don't, goodbye. Go and enjoy the heat somewhere in your house and a hot chocolate and a little put your feet up. But honestly, this will help. And I actually have produced a 1-page handout on this subject. So if you're listening and you would like that, then I would like you to direct message me and tell me that you would like a copy of it. Anyway, for those that don't know me and haven't listened before, I am Mandy Nicholson, and I am a artist, an author, and a creative genius consultant. So all of the things where you experience blank page syndrome. And I help creative women to launch, to grow, and to scale their creative business and make more money. Because actually, you know what? That's quite important, isn't it? So without further ado, let's talk about blank page syndrome or blank canvas syndrome. I've experienced both because I'm an artist and an author. And if you're listening, say hi. I can't see all of the comments on all of the platforms because I always do 4 platforms at once on a Tuesday night. So if you make a comment and I don't select you and say hi, I'll come back to you later. So make a comment, say hi, tell me where you're watching from. You know, if you're interested in what I'm saying, you know, tell me if you want a copy of this 1-pager. And if you're on replay, #replay. So let's talk about blank page syndrome. There is nothing worse when you are filled with inspiration and you want to get started on something, albeit something that can be a writing project. So maybe a newsletter or a blog or even a book, or a piece of work for a project that you're doing, or maybe you're writing a program or a course, something like that. Or you're an artist and you want to get started on a painting or a sculpture or a craft piece where you're making something. Or you're an entrepreneur and you want to get started on a business. And sitting in front of you is a blank canvas and a blank screen or a blank page. And the inspiration was there and then it's just gone. It's probably one of the most frustrating feelings that any creative of any sort can experience. It's really difficult. You really begin to get frustrated with yourself and your inability to move forward. And that can then compound itself. So that feeling of frustration with yourself, your inability to move past this, whatever it is, it could even be, you know, going out to the gym. It can be that I want to do it, I can't actually manifest the inspiration to do it. It can apply to lots of things, but I call it blank page syndrome. However, that does not mean you can't get out of it. And what I wanted to share during the whole of the next couple of months on a Tuesday night was some practical tips for you, some how-tos. So if you've experienced this, or if you're experiencing it right now, because COVID is like this black blanket that's been thrown on top of a lot of people, and it's affected mindset, and it's affected inspiration, and it's affected motivation. It's increased anxiety, and it's increased fear. And those things are the things that actually impact on this inability to move forward. And all I ever want to do on these sessions that I hold on a Tuesday night is to move you forward in any small way. So I'm going to refer to this sheet and my notes, a couple of pages here that I'm going to share with you. So if you are stuck with this lack of inspiration and you know it's there, yeah, you know it's there because you've had the thoughts before, then here are my 8 steps for you being able to move yourself past them. Now, you might not believe me because when you're in that blank page syndrome, nothing seems to work and you feel really frustrated and you don't believe what other people are saying. But believe me, these things work, and I've used them myself over the years consistently and habitually to help myself when I've sat in front of a canvas and can't come up with an image, when I've sat in front of a page and can't write the book. So my first tip is to meditate. Now, this isn't for everybody, believe me. Meditation is very misunderstood, really misunderstood. Meditation is about getting out of your own way and tapping into your subconscious. Many people think that meditation is about clearing your mind, and it's not. It's about becoming in tune with your thoughts and allowing your body and your mind to actually communicate in a better way. And there are lots of ways that you can meditate. So there are apps that you can get for your phone, which have great guided meditations on them, or they have great music that you can become calm to. It's about taking time out, a small amount of time out, to become in tune with your thoughts. So you can get apps, you can go and hire a meditation coach or mentor. You can find guided meditations everywhere on the internet. There's no excuse for not actually making a little bit of effort. The act of becoming at one with your thoughts enables you to tap into your subconscious in a better way. So that's why it's the number 1 tip on my 8 tips that I'm going to give you tonight to be able to get out of your own way when you're experiencing blank page syndrome. I meditate every single morning for between 10 and 20 minutes, depending on how I'm feeling. And it really does connect me with myself for the day. The second tip that I'm going to give you is to brainstorm. And everybody's going to roll their eyes and go, oh, you know, there's loads of this going about. Brainstorm. Brainstorming works. Don't give me your bullshit. Brainstorming works. I use it all the time. I've been using it for decades and it works. It empties your head of ideas and it captures them in a place. You can see behind me, always get the wrong finger here. That's brainstorm. That's a couple of mind maps with my vision on. It's not rocket science. It's easy to do. And I have here, and I used this in the Creative Calling yesterday, which is my paid group. And it's a mind map. If you want a copy of this, let me know. You can have it. I will send it to you. And how a mind map works is very simple. For those of you that have used them before, sorry if I'm teaching you how to suck eggs. Some people, one person watching this live might not have done it before. So it's for them, not for you. Okay. So a mind map is very straightforward. In the center is what you're trying to achieve. So let's imagine I want to write my book. Yeah. That's the center of the mind map. So what are all the things that I need to do in order to write my book? So I might need to do research. Yeah. Research. I might need to look for a publisher. I might need to think about PR opportunities. I'm going to start brainstorming all the things I do to write that book. and I'm going to capture as much as possible on that mind map. And it may even move on to another mind map, which might create more things. Now, if you do this when you start a project, before you start a project, if you then hit the blank page syndrome where you're struggling, you can revisit your original brainstorm and understand why you started that project. That will help you. And brainstorming anytime works. So that's my second tip of 8 tips to get out of your own way. Number 3, I'm calling equipment, is carry a notepad, sketchbook, dictaphone, journal, voice message on your phone. Because many of the creative people I have met in my time have inspired ideas at the most inappropriate moments. Moments where they've just not got the opportunity to write it down. And it's really funny because I was having a conversation with an absolutely gorgeous lady this morning, still had my rollers in. I was having a conversation with a gorgeous lady this morning who has just given birth and who said to me that she had some amazing ideas while she was in the maternity unit and having just given birth. Because you're at your most you're relaxed, you've just given birth, and all these amazing ideas, and she didn't have a notepad and pen and she's forgotten them now. That happens to me all the time. Well, it used to, not anymore, because I always have equipment with me. So if I see something beautiful as an artist, I've always got my little tiny sketchbook with me so I can do a quick sketch, take some notes on color, take some notes on things, and then it can just sit in that little notebook and I may or may not come back to it at another time. So equipment is number 3. Number 4 is step back to step forward. Sometimes you've got to step back to take a different view. When you step back from a painting to admire it, you get a different perspective. Sometimes you need to step out. And I mean step out. If you're struggling with blank page syndrome, stepping outside and having a walk in nature, stepping away from what you're doing for a while to do something, go and have a coffee with a friend. Do something that's different and enjoyable. Go and have a beauty treatment. Go and book a beauty treatment. Anything at all that will distract you from your old thinking and the block that you're experiencing. Many of us sit in that block for way too long without taking any action. And if you don't take any action, you could sit in a creative block for days, weeks, months. And when you're an entrepreneur, when you are an artist, when you're an author, whatever you're doing, even as just in life in general, if you hit this block, if you continue to follow the same patterns and cycles, you can't move away from the block. So that's number 4, step back or step out. Number 5 is to revisit another unfinished piece of work, or revisit something that you have finished and that you're proud of, and look at the detail of it. Look at what you achieved or what stopped you last time. Is there a pattern? Is there a point that you get to where you feel uncomfortable, where fear sets in? Is that apparent? And when you've been successful in the past and you've had success with a piece, a great blog that you've written, a great piece of art or craft that you've created, what was it that kept you going? Think about it. Revisit something that you've done before and think about what your triggers were then and what your triggers are now. Number 6, and I love this. This is probably my favorite of all the tips that I'm going to give to you, okay? Number 6 is sensory stimulation. Our senses are so important to us in so many ways. Do not underestimate the power we have in sensory stimulation. So when I'm talking about sensory stimulation, I'm saying add some sensory elements to your workplace, the place that you are trying to work, where you are experiencing the block. So I'm going to say, first of all, smell, candles, essential oils, flowers. Can you add them to your workspace? I've got 2 candles on my windowsill over there that I regularly have burning when I'm working in the studio. Then there's the auditory sense, music, audiobooks, podcasts. Listen to inspirational podcasts. Listen to inspirational music. I love Audible, and I listen to audiobooks while I'm painting. It's a great way of 2 things happening at the same time, and it keeps me inspired. Taste is important, and maybe having some healthy snacks in Tupperware tubs that look appealing, that you can just pick up and snack on. Just some carrot sticks, maybe some grapes, some fruit, things like that, that look attractive and have nice rainbow colors, that are in your workspace that you can pick up and nibble on without it being a complete disaster. Not chocolate biscuits, not crisps. I'm not even eating them anymore. Just something so that you can stimulate that sense throughout the day. It helps. Believe me, all your senses help you to think. Vision. So when I'm talking about vision, look at the mandala behind me. Colorful adornments in your workspace. Things like throws or wall hangings or paintings or ornaments that are eye-catching, that will stimulate the visual thing for you. Because it's a sense like all the others. And when we're talking sensory stimulation, we're looking at all of the senses and how can you create an environment where you are stimulating all of them. And then there's your kinesthetic, your touch. Have a few items that you can pick up and feel. There's loads here. I've got one of my crystals here that's really tactile. It's like a tower building. And it's just nice to hold in my hand and feel the grooves. Tactile things that you can touch. So while you're thinking, you can have it, there's the Play-Doh or balls, the things that you can buy that are meant for you to be able to play along with. These are really good for sensory stimulation, and sensory stimulation is good for you. So that's number 6. 2 more left. Number 7 is break old patterns. This is quite key. Break old patterns. Change your working hours. Start later. Finish earlier. Take a 2-hour lunch. Work in 3-hour slots. Change it up a bit if you can. If you can't, try and work around that a bit and change your route home if you've got to go to work. Not a lot of us are at the minute, but change your route home if you've got to go to work. Change the order in which you do things. Break the old patterns that you follow on a daily basis, and just doing that can stimulate a different thought process for you to be able to get past the blocks you're experiencing. And number 8, and this is really interesting, is look in unlikely places. Inspiration can come to you in the most unexpected ways. So, and I mean that most sincerely. Actually, one of my paintings came from watching a TV show. There was a couple of paragraphs sentences in a TV show that hit me with an idea that I'd already had. And it really brought inspiration for me. So watch something different than you would normally watch on the TV. Watch a new film, a new TV series, listen to a new radio show, listen to a different type of music. Dig out some old photo albums. Go through your old photo albums and do something that is completely different to what you would normally do. So those are my 8 key tips for you getting out of your own way when you've got blank page syndrome. I know you're going to get it at some point, so let's just run over them again. Number 1 was meditate. Number 2 was to brainstorm. Number 3 is equipment. Number 4 is to step back. Number 5 is to revisit old successes or failures. Number 6 is sensory stimulation. Number 7 is to break old patterns. And number 8 is to look in unlikely places. I know that if you've got blocks at the minute, even around your thinking about COVID, where your business is, where you want your business to go, the ideas that you would normally have at the normal level that you would have them, if they're impacted at the minute by the situation we're in lockdown, you could be experiencing a bit of blank page syndrome. So I hope that that has helped you to really think about that tonight. Perhaps it's something that you've not thought about before. And isn't that good when everybody's saying the same, that I still pop up and do something different? Maybe it is something that you've not thought about before. If it is, then comment and say, thanks, Mandy, for making me think about this, because do you know the amount of time, the amount of man hours that businesses lose to people who are feeling uninspired or unable to move forward? That then impacts on mental health, on anxiety and worry and fear. And it has a really negative impact on business performance, which is vital if you're an entrepreneur, on business performance, which is vital if you're in a job and you are looking for a promotion. So put this on your agenda as something to think about, and send me a message if you would like a copy of these 2 one-page sheets that I have used tonight to explain this to you. Thank you for listening. I will be back next Tuesday at 7 p.m, same time, same place, offering you some more valuable training that can move you forward even just a little bit. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you next week. Bye for now.